been here, this is my 5th week, and I think I've read 7 books, but one of them I read 2.5 times because it was the only book I had when I came in. It took a while for me to get anything else.
This is Joe Halderman, the CBS News producer who was arrested and indicted last fall for trying to extort $2 million from David Letterman.
What book was it?
It was The Girl Who Played with Fire by Stieg Larsson. I read it 2.5 times until I got another book. I brought it when I got sentenced. On the day I sentenced, I had it with me in the courtroom.
Now, Mr. Halderman loves to read, and you might think that his recent sentencing to 6 months in Rikers Island, after pleading guilty to second-degree grand larceny, might cut into his access to books. But as it happened, as part of his mandatory work detail at Rikers, he got assigned to librarian duties at the makeshift branch that the New York Public Library runs at the jail.
This library, for a lot of the inmates, gives them an opportunity to get books that otherwise they're not going to be able to have. And there are a lot of guys here that do want to read. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of guys, well, there's some guys that don't have any other access to books other than this library.
The library, which is set up weekly in the gymnasium of one of Rikers' lockups, is an expansion of what was once just a small collection of books on a cart pushed from cell block to cell block.
I think we've been successful really in sort of replicating a library experience as best we can, in a jail setting. And they're allowed to take a book in a magazine, and then it just works as a regular library. Next week we come in and we exchange the book with the guys, talk about what they like to read, try to get them the books that they want.
What is the most popular book?
Right now, the autobiography of Malcolm X is probably the most popular book, and we burn through paperback dictionaries, which we can never have enough of those.
Dictionaries are a really valuable commodity in here because the guys who do read, or if they're writing a letter, or if they're doing something, a lot of these guys are doing something on their case or something. Like a guy came to me the other day and wanted to know the definition of concurrent. I mean, you'd think they'd know what concurrent is, but so, having a dictionary is valuable. So have been, basically, I think because I'm old, I get asked a lot of questions. So you're sitting there reading, and it's sort of a constant interruption. There's a lot of downtime in here, and so the opportunity for these guys to get books that they want to read, that helps them, pass the time and stay out of trouble is a good thing.
Do they ask you do you give suggestions, and what would you give? Is it based on what you think the person will like, or just something that you've read?
Or? I'll ask this guy, what do you usually read?
Me, I've done a lot of time over the years, so I don't really go towards the sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
For example, like Sanders, I've read almost all of his stuff at one point, and then I'll go on a different kick for a different writer. Might be Grisham. I read almost all of his.
How about Jonathan Kellerman?
No,
you read Jonathan?
Kellerman's great. Him and his wife, Faye, they're both very good writers. It just depends. I see a lot of the young kids. They like to go more towards the ethnicity, those hood stories, or whatever. Hey, look, it's going to get them into reading. You know what I mean? If that's what it gets to get them into reading, hopefully they'll go to something eventually that's a little more diverse. But if that gets them started, then fine.